trouble-free and thankfully cooler Thursday evening to all. Yours truly, Shams Espina here, eager and glad to bring you PTV News Now. Now, tops on our stories for tonight. National Food Authority Administrator Larry Lacson is a bit edgy and growing more worried, This as a result of mountains of rice sacks piling up in warehouses nationwide due to a slow rice procurement pace with a harvest season that's just begun amid slow demand and new inventory racking up. The bane of his worry, at least 6.1 million bags or sacks of 50 kilos each sitting idle in storage and not converting into sales as quickly as the volume of new inventory coming in. In a radio interview earlier today, he bewailed the sluggish demand and slow pace of grain distribution, to include those under food security emergency measures, which he blamed on getting stuck and snagged in red tape or too much paperwork. Nevertheless, Lacson assured all the stockpiles are in good condition and far from a state of spoilage. But should the status quo persist or hold indefinitely, he said he may be left with no option but to auction off what he has. Right now, total sales have yet to hit 100,000 sacks, even as he and his surrogates try to negotiate deals with cooperatives and local government units for more warehouse or storage space. And turning to news in foreign shores, U.S. President Donald Trump's on and off tariff policy has set the wrong signals to the business world and to global trade, with EU, Canada, Mexico all bracing themselves for after April Fool's Day when Trump's tariffs kick in. With consumer confidence at a two-year record low, Trump's handpick for the Federal Reserve has sounded off how the damage of tariffs is putting the U.S. straight into the path of recession. VOA's White House correspondent Carolyn Presutti has this report.
Tariffs and counter-tariffs with no end in sight.
No, I'm not going to bend at all.
As of right now, the U.S. places a tariff on metals imported from the European Union. The European Union puts a 50% tariff on U.S. whiskey. U.S. President Donald Trump threatens a 200% tariff on European wine, champagne, and spirits.
We've been ripped off for years, and we're not going to be ripped off anymore.
The U.S. imposes 25% tariffs on Canadian metals and an April tariff on lumber, dairy products, and cars. Canada levies, then withdraws tariffs on electricity exports, but keeps tariffs on $21 billion worth of American goods.
We don't need their cars. We don't need their energy. We don't need their lumber.
The U.S. puts a tariff on Mexican foods, but exempts certain items included under the North American Free Trade Pact, signed in President Trump's first term. A tariff on cars from Mexico is also rescinded. Mexico says it will respond on Sunday. And for China, 20% tariffs overall.
Now, there'll be a little disruption, but it won't be very long.
The unpredictability drives U.S. stocks wild. Analysts say if it continues, all governments lose.
They think that if they protect their economy, they're going to increase the productivity and the competitiveness of industries in their own market. And actually what they're doing is putting them at a disadvantage in terms of price and access to global markets.
The U.S. argues economic pain now will yield great results later. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent.
The tariffs, we've got strategic industries we've got to have. We want to protect the American worker, but a lot of these trade deals haven't been fair.
The administration is sending a signal that it's not business as usual here. It's now more exports and less imports. The next round of tariffs goes into effect April 2nd. Carolyn Presutti, VOA News, the White House.
At this juncture, let's shift focus to my colleague in PTV's Baguio City studios for what's brewing lately in the Cordilleras. Audrey?
Naimbag Arabi, ikagagumante lokal a gobyerno de Baguio City ang mangimontar, kadagiti moderno a closed-circuit television wenno CCTV units, kadagiti nagduduma pa sa syudad. Karaman daytoy nga dang iti punteriya ti lokal a gobyerno amang papigsa iti crime and traffic monitoring ti Smart City Command Center. Sigun iti local chief executive na ituning ang maimontar ti 40 a kanayunan nga automatic number plate recognition CCTV cameras, kadagiti na duma-dumaan number coding areas para iti naparpatak-apan ng wanawan iti traffic conditions, ken pan nakabigbig kadagiti traffic violations ken daduma pay a krimen. Iti agdama, ada iti 40 a units ti ANPR CCTV ti naimuntar kan manarimaan amar aramat kadagiti entry kan exit points iti syudad kan major intersections iti syudad. Malaksid iti rayta, dumanon iti 115 a CCTVs ti naimuntar iti nagduduma a lugar iti business district para iti real-time monitoring. Mamati ti mayor ang makatulong dayto iti assets kan resources ti syudad kan makaipaay iti napinpintas kan naparpartak a serbisyo baban iti monitoring kadagiti crime index, traffic, greening program kan dadumapay.
Iti sabali pay adamag dinayaw ti Department of Social Welfare and Development Field Office Cordillera ti National Anti-Poverty Commission kas kabarbaro akamang ti ahensya iti Enhanced Partnership Against Hunger and Poverty iti rehiyon.
Ti panakairaman ti NAPC iti EPAHP iti Cordillera ken maysa a milestone iti napagmaymaysa panggap a malaban ti bisin ken kinapanglaw iti Cordillera. Baban iti raytoy, nanayunan ti bilang dagiti ahensya akamang ti EPAHP-CAR iti 20. Karaman ti CPD, DAR, DA, BFAR, ATI, DILG, BJMP, DepEd, DOH ken dadumapay. Kabayatan na, 25 partners manipud iti na dumaduma a civil society organization ti DSWD Field Office CAR, titim mabuno iti capacity building on the Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino Program sa Family Development Session, Gender Sensitivity, kan magulang para sa pag-unlad ng bata module.
Dagiti damdamag manipud iti PTV Cordillera, siyak ni Audrey Villana na Imbag Arabi.
Many thanks, Audrey. And so we have come to the end of the show. Join us anew next week for yet another round of late-breaking stories. And make it always a habit to stay connected by keeping it here for news you can count on, news you can trust. Sharms Espina here, wishing you all a cooler and more restful night ahead. And thank you for watching PTV News Now.